We are now ready for the weigh-in of the WBO Heavyweight Championship fight here in Las Vegas. We kick it off with the weigh-in of Tommy Morrison, the contender. Tommy Morrison will now weigh in.
Now, are you going to have to take the fight to George?
Here's a look at Tommy Morrison, fresh off a movie career. He's got the long curly locks going for him now. Here's a guy who is going to be a big star, whether in or out of the ring. That's one thing that we know for sure, Al.
Yeah, he is coming off the Rokki movie, and over in the other end,
Well, right now, what we've been talking about for the last hour, and that is a pretty special moment for us here. Big fight here in Las Vegas tomorrow night, George Foreman and Tommy Morrison. And right now, we have the weigh-in live for all of that and all of those festivities.
We are now ready for the weigh-in of the WBO Heavyweight Championship fight here in Las Vegas. We kick it off with the weigh-in of Tommy Morrison, the contender. Tommy Morrison will now weigh in.
And we will kick it off by weighing in the challenger. Tommy Morrison, who is a challenger in his bout, will now weigh in. Tommy Morrison.
Too late now. We already got it. Okay, with the shoes, 226.
226 for Tommy Morrison. As he gets ready to challenge for the WBO Heavyweight Championship. And now the former champion of the world, George Foreman. George Foreman weighs in at 256 pounds.
Stand, full possession stand, and food and ice cold drinks. We've got a lot more coming up.
I have George Foreman here with me. George, 256. You look like a very fit 256.
I was hoping for 265. I don't know how. I had a good breakfast, the whole deal. I don't know what happened.
How did I know you were going to say that? How do you plan to avoid his double left hook?
I don't know. I've been in the ring with a lot of double left hooks before. The most frightening moment I had when I faced Joe Frazier. He had a left hook, a really murderous left hook. I was scared then. I'm only frightened this time.
All right, well, George is still laughing and scratching. Now, I know there's a lot of tickets to sell, but when did the fun and games stop?
Well, the fun and games stopped about 8.5 weeks ago. Once we went to camp, obviously we had to go to New Orleans to do the cable thing. And it was a pleasure. I think we both had fun with it. We both gave each other a space. George is a great guy. He's a class act. I like to consider myself on that same level. We had a good time doing it, but now it's time to take care of some business.
Now, are there some amends to make for the Mercer fight?
Well, that was the one fight that I feel as a team that we learned most. It gave us an indication in which direction we needed to travel. I needed to become a more complete fighter. When I say complete, I mean being able to back up, box a little bit, be able to move, be able to be a bit more defensive. I feel that I matured a lot as an athlete. Prior to that, I probably didn't have the greatest training habits in the world. But I matured a lot as an athlete, feel very comfortable with where I'm at. And actually this time, I feel like I belong here.
Now, where do you think this fight is going?
Well, it's on paper. I think it's going to be a very exciting fight. There's no secret to fighting somebody like George. Obviously, the opposition he's been facing, with the exception of Holyfield, probably hasn't been as tough as it will be tomorrow night. It's something that people are looking forward to. It's a very competitive fight, which is something people haven't seen in the heavyweight division in quite some time. I think it's going to be a very exciting night.
Now, are you going to have to take the fight to George?
Well, George is the type of guy that's going to come right straight at me. And as everybody knows, I'm not the type of individual that takes backward steps either. But at the same time, I can't afford to get away with what brought me here this far, which is to be a very explosive athlete.
Now, Tommy, I know you don't want to remember the Mercer fight, but what are you going to do different this time that'll make it different?
Well, the one thing that I didn't know how to do, and I think George Foreman knows a little bit about this, is to be able to relax. As a matter of fact, I contacted George Foreman through my manager, and he used to suffer from the same condition that I had early on in his career. And he gave us a couple exercises to go through. Running longer distances, doing 1-hour runs, 10-mile runs. Instead of doing 3-minute rounds, go 6-minute rounds, 8-minute rounds, 10-minute rounds. Everybody has their limits, and you don't know until you actually go and visit those limits. I'm still playing catch-up to the Lennox Lewis's and Riddick Bowe's and Ray Mercer's. At the same time, I've just been playing catch-up, and now I feel like I'm kind of closing the gap just a little bit.
Well, Tommy, no more catch-up. You've reached your finish line. It's your time to shine in the sun. We wish you well.
Thank you very much.
As everyone knows, I don't take too many backward steps either. George is definitely not the sort of individual that you want to stand in front of a whole lot. But at the same time, I can't afford to get away from what's brought me this far, and that's being a very explosive athlete.